Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Gananam Tva Ganapatiham Havamahi Kavim Kaviriyam Kamashvarastanam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashrinvanmurtikussida Sadhanam. Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Saraswati Namastukyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambam Karishyami Siddhe Bhavatu Me Sata. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Gurudeva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं समस्तजनकल्याणि निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं वासुदेवेन्द्रयोगीन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं मुमुक्षूणां हितार्थाय तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते तत्त्वबोधोऽभिधीयते. We will read out from Satyam. सत् किं कालत्रयेऽपि तिष्ठति इति सत् चित् किं ज्ञानस्वरूपः आनन्दः कः सुखस्वरूपः एवं सच्चिदानन्दस्वरूपं स्वात्मानं विजानीयात्. Here Sat Kim. The first question that is posed is Sat Kim. Now why Kim? The Sat, the word Sat is Napumsakling. That is why Kim. Chit is also Kim. But then when we come to Anandaha, it is Ananda Kaha. So Ananda, because it is pulling, that is why it is said Kaha, not Kim. So Sat Kim. What was the question? The question was then Atma, what is it if we are removing all the negations from Atma, what it is not? Then my question is what it is. What is it? Then it was said that it is Sat, Chit and Ananda Swarupaha. And we saw last time that the question again came, what is Sat? So Sat was that is same in all the three times, all the three periods, past, present, and future. It remains the same. It is unchanging in all the three periods of time. That is called Sat. Okay. So who will describe? Who will tell me? Who will tell me what is time actually, and how do we negate the concept of time? How can we negate the concept of time?
Amma, yesterday you gave last class you gave an example that when if I'm suffering and at that time I feel that why time is not passing, and when I'm in enjoyment, it feels like time has gone so fast. So time is very subjective. That is the nature of time.
Yes, and that is why time is not true. It is a concept. Very good. Because time, if it was true, if it was really existing, then time would have been, the experience of time would have been same for everybody. But we don't feel the experience of time same. One person only feels different times at different times. There are different moments. He feels different times. Sometimes it is not passing. Sometimes it passed so fast. Now, how will you negate time? Okay, this was a quick answer for negating time. Now, how will you see that these three times, the three past, present, and future, how will you merge it into one? How will you merge it into one? And then after merging it into one, how will you see it as negated again? Come on, fast. Yes, Sonia.
So when past was experienced also, it is present. And when future will be experienced also, it is present. So at all
Yes.
times, we are only experiencing the present.
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good.
So there is no three times actually, past, present, or future. It is only present.
Very good. And how will we negate present? How will we negate present? Very good. Your answer is perfect. Because when we are experiencing the past, it was also present. And when we will experience the future, it also will be present. So actually, we have merged the past and the future into present. Now we have to negate the present, the actuality or the reality of that present has to be negated. How will we do that?
Yeah, I think I remember you telling when I take the time 8:15 and go to 8:15 and see which second it is and keep finding. So I cannot go to that exact second of it because
Very
that
good.
second also passes off. So then
Very,
even present is negated in that way.
very good. So when at the present moment, how big is it? When we question ourselves, how big is that present moment? Is it a year? So no, no, it's not a year. Then is it a month? No. Then is it a day? No. Then is it an hour? No. Then what is it? Is it a minute? No, 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 not that big also. Then we try to divide it into more microseconds and pico and nano, all those things. When we are dividing into the smallest part, even the two times, suppose one is this nanosecond and another one is this nanosecond. Between them is an absence of time. There's no time because time will be seen where there is no time. Because to separate two things, yes, this is an important point. See, when we are separating two things, I am separating 1 second from the other. There has to be a gap between. That means there has to be no time zone at that time. Because when I say these are two fingers, how do you say these are two fingers and not one finger? Because there is no finger in between. Understood? So if there was a finger in between also, then it would have been one finger only. So these two fingers are two because there is absence of finger in between. Two objects are two objects because there is absence of object in between. Similarly, if there is 1 second here and another is second here, there has to be absence of time in between so that these two have their own entities. So where are those 2 seconds or 2 nanoseconds seen on the absence of time? These two are seen on the absence. So actually, when we are breaking it into nanoseconds, picoseconds, whatever, so though the smallest portion, smallest division of time is also seen where in its absence. So everything here actually is seen in its absence. The objects also, the time also, the space also, everything is actually seen in its absence. But when we are seeing it in its absence means what? Is it shunya? Is it zero? No, it has to be substratum. There has to be something on which it is seen, and that is called sattva. That is not changing. Time is changing. Time, how do we know time? Another question. How do we know time? Because it's not seen. How do we know that time is passing? How do we know? Like the electricity is not seen. I'm giving you hints. Electricity is not seen, but electricity is seen through the fan, through the lights, through the other objects. How is, yeah,
Maybe through the changes in the
yes, exactly.
environment.
Through the changes only. I was a kid. Now I am an adult. Later on, I'll be an old woman. Later on, my body will pass away. So the changes that are being seen is due to time. So the definition of time as per Bhagavatam says Gunavati Karo Kalaha. We are not able to see catch that time, but we are able to see the modifications. So the modification is nothing but time. So what does time do? It keeps on changing things. It brings in modifications. It changes the shape. It changes the form. It changes various guna, the characteristics of a thing. Something must be very beautiful, nice. The paint must be very good in this hall when it was painted, but now it is dull because the time has brought in changes in that. It has modified. So we cannot see time, but how are we able to see? We are able to see the changes. Karyanumay. We are able to see the effects of time. Okay. So what was the example given in Adhidev for time? What was the example given for, what was the name given for Adhidev in time? Adhidev. Come on, fast. Adhidev in the Puranas.
Kal?
Kal. Yes. And how does it represent? I give an
the-
example.
Satyug, Treta, like this.
No, by the
No, no, no. That is the form of the Kal, but I know. But how does it represent in story form? What is
Yama?
the form? What is the form
Yam?
of Kal? Yama is the
Yam?
Devta. No,
Okay.
it is the Devta of Mrityu.
or the snake.
Snake and
Sudarshan Chakra.
very good. Very good. Sudarshan Chakra and the snake. These two are associated with all the devtas. Adhidaiva form of that is Kal, which takes the form of the snake and the Sudarshan Chakra. So Sankarshan Bhagwan is actually the form of Kal only. So when we say that during Pralay, everything is merged in that sat only, everything is merged in that, but something is remaining. What is it that is remaining? The Kal remains, because Bhagwan is lying on that serpent bed. So that Sankarshan Bhagwan is always there. Sankarshan Bhagwan is there when the time of the period of that Kal, period of that Pralay Kal is over, then it will again bring in some disturbance in that Narayan Bhagwan so that he wakes up and starts the creation again. So this is the pictorial representation of that Kal in our Puranas. We should know all these things so that we can tell our kids, and we should they should not feel that it is all something weird, all the stories and everything. He's lying on that serpent bed. So what is that story indicated? That Sat is the substratum on which that Kal is seen. It is controlling the Kal also. The Sudarshan, it is controlling. The snake, it is controlling. As Lord Shiva, the snake is his ornament. So he is controlling. It won't bite because it is a substratum on which it is seen. So when we are going to see the principles, we come to Vedanta. When we want to see it as stories, as pictorial representations, we go to the Puranas. There we find beautiful stories. But all those stories need to be affirmed by these principles from the Vedas, from the scriptures. Otherwise, they won't. They will feel that is something. I don't know what is being spoken out. head or tail. I don't know what it is. Something weird is coming out. And people, that's why the Western philosophers, they don't understand our philosophy because of this reason only. It is very deep and we should know all these things. Okay, now we will go further. Now, Sat was already described. Then Chit came. Now we come to Chit came. Chit is Jnana Swarupa. So now I want your attention, full attention. When we are seeing anything, we are seeing anything, looking at anything, we are experiencing something. At that time, what is it? Knowledges are taking place. Continuously, some or the other knowledge is being given to us, is being perceived by our sense organs. So when I am seeing anything, what is it? It is actually that I am looking at the consciousness only. The consciousness, but it is with something. Like I am seeing a book right now. So what is it? It is book consciousness. I am seeing a watch. What is it? Watch consciousness. I am seeing a rose. Rose consciousness. I'm seeing a wall. Wall consciousness. So my attention is going from one entity, one object to the other. One, the book, but something is remaining the same. The consciousness in it is remaining the same. The name and form on it is continuously changing. This is how the knowledge is taking place. When I see the book initially, afterwards I see the watch, I have to drop that book and then I take up that watch. Consciousness is the same. What is the consciousness doing? It is taking the book shape first, initially. Afterwards, when I'm looking at the watch, I'm dropping that shape of that book, and now that consciousness is taking the shape of the watch. This procedure continuously keeps happening. My consciousness takes the shape of the thing that I'm looking at, and then again, when I change the object, the initial object, the shape is dropped and the other object shape is taken back again. That means what? That consciousness, that knowledge aspect is same throughout, but the objects of knowledge are continuously changing. That knowledge aspect on which the objects are seeing is same. The objects are continuously being changed. So once I see one object, that consciousness or that knowledge aspect does not have a shape. It is only as if the knowledge is there that I am, or it is something like that. The knowledge aspect is there and the objects on it are continuously going and coming. One thing comes, if it had its own shape, it wouldn't take another shape. Suppose my consciousness became of the shape of the book. Then what will happen? It won't take the shape of the watch because it is already having a shape. Like water, example of water. It does not have a shape of its own. Because it does not have a shape of its own, we pour it in a glass or we pour it in a bottle or we pour it in a tumbler, it will take the shape of that object wherever we are putting it. Similarly, consciousness, it does not have a shape. It does not have a name. When it is looking at the object, it is taking a shape because it does not have its own shape, its own name. Once again, when we are looking at another object, it is dropping the initial object, it is dropping the shape, and then it will take another object, the name of another object. This procedure continuously happens, and this is what? This is pure knowledge. Knowledge of different objects are taking place. On that pure knowledge, that knowledge aspect is not changing. The object of that knowledge is continuously changing. So actually, what is it? Actually, it is not. I am not looking at the book. I am looking at the consciousness. So when we see, when we are aware. we will call that knowledge as awareness. Now, when we are looking at any object, we call it book of object or object of book. When we are looking at any object, when we are seeing any object, we say it is object of awareness, not awareness of object. See the difference. We say that it is a book of consciousness. It is not consciousness of book. Try to grasp what I'm saying. We are actually flipping. We are swapping the things. Where the consciousness should have been more important, we say book is more important. Book of consciousness, watch of consciousness, or we'll say awareness, or we'll say knowledge. Book, knowledge of book. So when we say knowledge of book, then book is more important than the knowledge. But actually, what is it? It is book of knowledge. When we say knowledge of watch, so what is it? Watch of knowledge of watch. ज्ञान का विषय या विषय का ज्ञान? We flip it, we swap it and make the consciousness less important than the book. We make the knowledge, we make the awareness of that book less important than the book. This is the game of Maya. When we say this is a book, when we say what is it? Book. Book, I am seeing at the book. What is it? It is book of knowledge or knowledge of book. Or knowledge of book. So these things are when we are communicating, when we are interpreting in colloquial language. This Maya, what does it do? It will take the consciousness to backseat and bring the object to limelight. So the book becomes more important than the consciousness. And that is how our attention won't go to that consciousness actually, but we will see what we will keep seeing the object. And our attention will always be diverted from that consciousness. The book of consciousness or consciousness of book. We have to always try to bring the consciousness in front so that it is more important. We try to, how will we make it more important? By increasing the awareness. By increasing the awareness of that consciousness every time. So if that is not possible, then that becomes less important and we lose that awareness factor in ourselves, that everything is appearing, whatever knowledge is taking place is appearing on that knowledge. Whatever, wait a minute, you ask question later, wait a minute. So when whatever is seen, where is it seen? It is seen on the awareness. Where is it seen? It is seen on the knowledge. Why? How come? Because that awareness, that knowledge does not have a shape. How does that knowledge take place? My consciousness will completely bathe or shower this book. The light of that consciousness, how is that knowledge taking place? It does not have a shape right now. Because it does not have a shape right now, it will go out and it will, I'm just using these expressions going out and coming in for explaining. It does not happen like that. So don't go into too much detail. Because of expression, because of lack of limitations of expression, I have to use these words. So when my consciousness is going out, it is covering, it is enveloping this book. Once it is enveloped, then I know that this is a book. So actually my consciousness did not have a shape initially. But when it has enveloped this book, now my consciousness is having a shape of this book. Now what is happening? After I have dropped this book, I'm taking this watch. Now again, I'm looking at this watch right now. So I have to drop the shape of this book. So that consciousness has dropped the shape of the book and then it is enveloping again this whole watch. It is enveloping the whole watch. Now, when this whole watch is enveloped, my consciousness of the shape of this watch, and I feel I know this watch. So, object of my awareness, object of my knowledge is shifting from one object to the other continuously. After this, again, I see another flower, a rose, suppose. So, the shape of that watch is dropped and the shape of that rose is taken because the light of consciousness from within will envelop that rose again and it will take another shape of that rose. This is how, and it is so fast that our knowledge, that our attention does not go there. But actually, without this process, the knowledge cannot take place. And where is that knowledge happening? Where is that the object is being dropped and taken, dropped and taken? Where is that happening? On pure consciousness, on pure knowledge aspect. Sat was existence. This chit means what? Knowledge aspect. Knowledge aspect on that pure knowledge which does not have any shape. That pure knowledge that does not have any shape, that only will be capable of taking other shapes. If it had its own shape, how can it take another shape? It won't be possible because it has its own shape. The mirror can reflect our face because that does not have any reflection of its own. If it would have had its own reflection, if it had its own object, we won't be able to see the face because it already has something. Similarly, water also, because it does not have a shape, it does not have a color, it does not have a flavor. That's why we can put it in any object and that water will take the shape of that object or it will take any flavor or color. Similarly, this consciousness, when we say it is nirguna, it is avikari, it does not have a name and shape. This is the thing. Because it does not have a shape, because it does not have good, because it does not have modification in it, that is why it is taking one shape, it is dropping. Taking one shape, it is dropping. But our attention should go on that unchanging knowledge on where these objects are coming and going. One is continuously coming and other is going. That one goes, again another one comes. Unless you drop it, unless the first object is dropped, the second knowledge won't take place. This is the main thing. So unless the object is dropped, that first object has to be dropped to take the knowledge of the second. In this way, continuously we are taking some object and dropping it. Where? On that pure consciousness that does not have any shape. That is pure knowledge. You call it consciousness, you call it knowledge, you call it awareness, whatever name you give. But that is of the nature of pure knowledge. Pure knowledge. It is not objectifying any knowledge. It does not have the shape of any knowledge. It is just simple knowledge itself, without any shape, without any name. And in this way, we are continuously having knowledges of different objects that are superimposed on that pure knowledge. Actually, it is not taking any shape, but because those objects are coming on it, it is seen as if it has taken a shape. I am looking at you right now. What is happening? My consciousness has taken your shape. Whatever I'm looking at, my consciousness will go out and envelop that thing and will take the shape of that object. But is it permanent? No, it cannot be permanent because otherwise it will never drop it. If it is permanent, it cannot drop. So if it is permanent, I will stick to one object only. Every time I see somebody, suppose I see Seemaji, and my consciousness has taken the shape of Seemaji. Every time I see anybody of you, I'll see, oh, this is Seemaji only. This is Seemaji. This is Seemaji. Because it has taken a shape, permanent shape. But we don't feel, our experience is not like that. Continuously, I'm seeing everybody. I'm seeing Geeta Mouse, I'm seeing Nachali, I'm seeing Shubhashish, I'm seeing So Shoma also, Dhirenji also, Abham also. I am seeing every one of you. Why is this happening? Because my consciousness has not taken any shape originally. It does not have a shape of its own. So that is why it is taking continuously a shape on that knowledge. And I feel I know you. In this way, continuously, one object comes, it goes. Again, another object comes. Where on that knowledge aspect, different knowledges are coming and it is going. It is object of awareness and not awareness of object. When we see awareness of object, knowledge of object, then object is important. Awareness has gone to back seat. What is at the driver's seat? That object. So when we say knowledge of this watch, generally in colloquial, when we are interacting, we use such because language has its own limitations and barriers, and Maya uses it. So when we say this is the awareness of that object, knowledge of this watch, then watch is more important, not the knowledge. Knowledge has gone back. We have to actually say what object of watch of awareness, watch of knowledge, book of knowledge, because it is appearing there on that knowledge. Everything here is appearing on that knowledge. So one is coming, one object is coming, another is going, again coming, again going. So in this way, all the objects are seen where on that knowledge that does not have a shape of its own. And that is why it can take the shape, and that is why it can leave the. So one was Sat and this is Chit. Chit means what? The knowledge aspect is called the Chit. So all the three, Sat, Chit and Anand, are actually, what are they? There are three misunderstandings in us. What are those three misunderstandings? I had already told you all. Can anybody remember? We have three misunderstandings that are being tackled by Sat, Chit and Anand. Tell me. What are those three misunderstandings that we have? It's very easy. Sat is
We are in time.
we are in time. Sat means we are in time, we are born and we will die. Very good. Chit means what? Chit caters to which misunderstanding? Sat is catering to the misunderstanding that I am not a mortal. I'm not in time. Won't be born and I won't die because time is a concept. And I don't have the experience that I was born. Does anybody of you have this experience that this was the moment when I was born? Or will anybody have this experience that I'm dead? If he's saying that he's dead, he's not yet dead. That is it. This experience cannot be of any person who will say that I am born right now and I'll die. We don't remember when we were born. So that experience is being negated. But we feel this is our misunderstanding that I'm born and I'll be dead. So I'm not in time. This has been catered by Sat. Second misunderstanding, Chit. Just now we proved object of awareness is not awareness of object. I feel that I'm ignorant. I feel I don't know many things. Some things I know, but that is comparison to what I don't know, that knowledge is very small. But no, here it is proving that I am of the nature of knowledge. Everything, whatever I don't know is also who is saying that I don't know. I am saying that means that don't know is also the object of my knowledge. Whatever I don't know is also the object of my knowledge. So I cannot say completely that I don't know. Many things are there I don't know. There are many portions of this sansar that I don't know. I haven't been to many countries. I don't know many aspects. I don't know many subjects, objects, etc. Many people. But I know that I don't know. So there's somebody who's saying that I don't know. That pure knowledge, that is called Chit aspect. So I am of the nature of knowledge. Everything is seen on me. I am seeing everything. All the objects are seen on me. This is shift. And third thing, the third misunderstanding that we have is I don't have any joy. My joy depends on outside things. When I get that thing, then I'll be complete. When I get that thing, I'll enjoy. Right now, I don't have enjoyment in myself. This will see like. So these three misunderstandings are being catered by Satchit and Anand. Don't forget all these things. I had taken this before also. So Sat, Chit, and Ananda, these three things. I'm not a mortal, then I'm not ignorant, and I'm not sad or a sad entity personality. I feel I'm very sad. Things are not as per my wishes, as per my desires. Also, it won't be. But still, whatever it is, I am of the nature of happiness. I am of the nature of anand, complete bliss. So this was the thing. So we will now go to okay. Someone actually had to Supratim, are you there? You had some question. Supratim had some question. Otherwise, you ask me later.
Yeah, Amma, am I
Ah,
audible?
yes.
So basically, my question was that, for example, I see a book. Now, when I see a book, I give it the name of the book, and I imagine it to be a book, and then I think, okay, my eyes are seeing this. This is a book, and then I understand it's a book. Now, how can I say that the book, the consciousness of the book, like the book is a consciousness? How can I say I am a consciousness? Like, I don't know. So how that thing? And second thing is like, if everything is a consciousness, and it is taking a form or shape, so but in material existence we don't see it. So is it how to experience it, or like that?
Yes, that's what I explained is that whenever we are looking at any object, we have to take our attention to who is perceiving that object. There's some entity who's perceiving that object that is not changing. The knowledge aspect, the object aspect is changing. So that is why I started the pravachan, started this topic with I see objects. So it is book consciousness, it is watch consciousness, it is object consciousness, it is rose consciousness. Everything is as if I'm seeing the book, but I'm neglecting that consciousness. The awareness of that consciousness is not there. I have to question myself again and again. Who is the person who is seeing that object? I'm not aware right now. You're right. But my awareness should be there that I am seeing that object. I know that rose. What color is it? Is it red or is it yellow or what color? White? What rose is it? You say, no, it's a red rose. Who is saying that? I am saying that consciousness inside me, that chit aspect, the knowledge aspect inside me is saying this, that I know that rose. So my attention should go to that entity who is knowing that object rather than that object itself. Because the objects are continuously changing. The awareness in myself is not changing. You must be remembering the things of your childhood also. You go to your past. So after you go to the first memory of your past. Then you're a small kid, you're a small child. How far can you go? There also that awareness aspect was there. And recent, today's morning, that memory also has an awareness. Are they both separate? They cannot be two. And even when you were in college or when you were in school, when you appeared for your matriculation, etc., you have got many memories. Those objects are keeping on changing, they are changing, but that awareness factor One who says that I remember, one who says that I know that object. Oh, I remember that friend of mine. I met him yesterday. There's some person, there's some awareness, the knowledge. I know that is not changing. My attention should always go to that awareness. See, sadhana is always awareness based. अखंडानंद जी स्वामी जी used to say that sadhana, सावधानी का नाम ही साधना है. You are alert, that is called sadhana. So when we are looking at any object, my attention goes to that awareness object. Awareness, the nature of that awareness is I am knowing this thing. I am, who's the one who's knowing all the objects? I am the one. Don't mix it with the sansaric knowledge, because sansar won't tell you all this. This knowledge is telling you to divert your attention from that object to that awareness thing. That's something I know as this object. Who's saying that my attention should go to that awareness aspect, that knowledge aspect? That is not changing. Even in deep sleep, after we come out, at that time we don't remember, but when we are out, we feel, yes, I slept well. There was a knowledge aspect there also, which was overwhelmed at that time. But when we come out of that deep sleep state, then there's someone who says, I slept well, I'm feeling fresh. So there is an awareness object, there is an awareness, the nature of that awareness is not changing throughout. It is there continuously on that chip aspect. You call it awareness, you call it knowledge, you call it consciousness, you call it chip. All these are synonyms. On that, the objects are coming and going. On that, these things are erupting as if and then dissolving, popping up and dissolving, popping up, dissolving. Continuously, the knowledges are taking place. This is how we keep knowing the things. Is it clear, Supratim? Can we move ahead? Chip. So chip we have seen. Now we will come to Anand. Anandah kaha sukha swarupaha. Anandah kaha sukha swarupaha. What is Anand? Anand is of the nature of happiness. And what is that happiness? That is my nature only. My nature. But at present, how do I feel? I don't feel that I am of the nature of happiness. I feel all the sadness is with me only. I feel I cannot, I need something outside. I need circumstances, situations outside to feel that happiness. Right now, I'm not happy. But once I get that person, once I get that object, once I get a situation favorable, then I feel that I'm happy. But here it is, what is it saying? See, the experience of the scriptures and experience, my experience is completely different. So sadhana should always be to minimize the gap between the scriptural experience and between my experience. It should be to reduce that gap. वो मेरा अनुभव और शास्त्र के अनुभव के जगह को कम करना, पाटना ही साधना है. We should continuously minimize those two experiences, gap between those two experiences. So what I feel I don't have happiness. But here the Shastra, the scriptures is saying that I am of the knowledge of happiness. And then how is it possible? See, nature of the thing, according to Kenopanishad, nature of a thing is that cannot be left and that cannot be taken. I'm giving you small definitions. Remember all these things. Nature of the thing is that which cannot be taken and which cannot be left. Aheyam anupadeyam. It is called aheyam anupadeyam. It cannot be taken, neither can it be left. Like example, sugar. What is the nature of sugar? It is sweetness. The nature, the sugar, the sweetness of the nature, the sweetness of the sugar cannot be left, neither cannot be taken. So it is said, the nature of salt is saltiness. That saltiness cannot be left by the salt, neither it can be taken. That is called nature. And that nature will appear same to everybody. That nature of a thing, the swarup of the thing will appear same to everybody. It is not that somebody feels it hot or chili, somebody feels it sour, somebody feels it bland. No, sugar will taste sweet for everybody. That is the nature of a thing. Now, if we say that the object is what is our experience? The object is having joy. Now, if that object was having joy in it, happiness in it, that object would be giving the same happiness and all the times in all the places to everybody. But is that possible? One object can be giving me joy at all times, in all circumstances to all people. Is it possible? No. One object only. Suppose I am having a sweet tooth. I like gulab jamun a lot, and you fed me gulab jamun. But you gave me gulab jamun, but my health does not permit today. My stomach is upset, suppose, and you are asking me to have gulab jamun, though I like it, but still that gulab jamun won't give me that happiness when I would have been healthy and I would have been eating it. You see the difference? So if that object was happy, what is our experience right now? That that object has happiness. Unless I get that thing, I won't be happy. So I try to fulfill my happiness that I feel I'm not at present through the objects. And that is not the case. That is not the case because sometimes that object gives me happiness. I like it a lot, but sometimes it gives me happiness, sometimes it does not give me happiness. Same person I like a lot, I love a person a lot, but that same person is not giving me same type of joy at all times. When I'm very, very tired, when I want to sleep, and that person only comes and wakes you up, you'll be so irritated. All the joy is gone at that time because I don't want that person. Why? But you love me so much, he'll say. You love me so much. You always say that you cannot stay without me, you cannot live without me. But at that time, I don't want to see you. So all anything, any person, any situation that cannot give me happiness throughout because that is not the nature of that person, situation, or an object. Then where is it? It is in me only. My nature is happiness. My nature is joy. Why? Now, if we will try to analyze it through Parisheshat Nyan. I'll explain to you. You know what is Parisheshat Nyan. Here there are 5 things. Here there are 5 things in column. So we'll try to match the column. So we'll try to say, and we don't know the answers also. We'll try to match, and whatever is left, the fifth portion has to be here also in this column also, that fifth object should be linked to that. Similarly, we'll try to have this Parisheshatma. Now, we feel that the happiness belongs to this body. This body has got a lot of happiness. This body gives me a lot of joy. But is it so? All the time, does this body give me happiness? No, it does not. Sometimes it is a source of so much of pain, does not give me happiness. Then what is it? Then is my mind source of joy? My mind gives me a lot of happiness. So that means my mind is the source of joy. No, sometimes my mind is very good. Sometimes my mind is upset. Sometimes it is moody. Sometimes when I get something from outside, it is very happy. When it does not get, then it is craving. Then it is not happy. That means the mind is also not having that happiness. See, body, no. Mind, no. Intellect, somebody praises me a lot. Wow, you're so intelligent. Ananya ji, nobody like you. I'm so, um, I'm on the seventh heaven. I have puffed up. Like the puffed rice, I've also puffed up. And then somebody will come and say, Are this is such a simple thing. You don't know this. Right? Nobody taught you this. I'll say, Oh, I don't know this. Okay, you're talking to me? Yes, I'm talking to you. How come you don't understand such a simple thing? I'll feel sad. Now somebody has pricked my puffed up balloon. Again, I come back. So that happiness that was the intellect was giving me happiness. Now it is not giving me happiness. Sometimes I don't understand. Sometimes my notions only give me a lot of problems. It creates problems. So my happiness is not the nature of that intellect also. So when we are whatever we have earlier defined, when we are taking those out, then what is it left? Now, self only. It is not of the nature of the body is not of the nature of joy, not the mind, not the intellect, not the tendencies, nothing, not the objects, because we already saw the objects are changing outside. One time that object gives me a lot of happiness, other time that object does not give me that much of happiness. Some person, no. Some situation, not at all. Situations are changing. Sometimes it is very cold, sometimes it is very hot. The fan, the fan. I feel the fan. I feel the joys in this fan when it is too hot. But when it's too cold, this fan only will give me pain. If it is working, it is on. So I cannot say that the happiness is of the nature of any of the object, any person, my body, my intellect, nothing. Then what is it? What is left is only the self. This is called Parisheshatma. So we are negating all the joys that we are taking from, and we have that wrong notion that these things, the person, the situation, my body is giving me a lot of happiness. So look at me, I'm so handsome, I'm so beautiful, I'm so smart, all these things. But some of the other time, you only will feel that that person is better than me. That person looks better than me. That person is more smarter than me. So these things don't have the happiness. What is the essence of happiness? It is in the self only. In the self, from that self, the reflection of that self is being put in that object, and we are tasting that the happiness of my own self. And I'm saying that that object is giving me happiness. Actually, that is the happiness of my own self that I put in that object. Oh, I got a small baby in the house. What is that baby? Bundle of joys. Such a sweet boy, such a sweet girl, such a sweet baby. But let it grow, then you'll find it if it is sweet or sour or whatever. Look at us, are very the same for our parents every time. Not me. Our parents were very happy when we were born. What a bundle of joy. Later on, they understood that the definition should be changed, isn't it? So in here also similarly, what are we doing? We are putting the joy of our own self in that object, and we are tasting it, and we feel that that object is having that happiness. Actually, it is not like that. So happiness can be of the nature of self only and not of the world. Okay? You are experiencing that happiness of the world through your own self, through the joy of your own self. You put that thing. Now, one more point. One more point is that what is the nature? Our nature is happiness. How do we prove this? I told you initially, ahayam anupadeyam is a definition of the swarup of a thing. The essence of a thing is what? It cannot be left, it cannot be taken. So now, if I am very, very unhappy, some situation has occurred outside that I'm very, very unhappy. Now, according to this definition, aham anupadeyam, let's try to prove it. I am unhappy. I go to sleep. When I'm sleeping, I drop that the sadness. Whatever is not my nature, I want to drop it. Again, what is not my nature, I prefer to drop it. I don't carry it. Like if some dust particle enters my eyes, that is not a portion of the system. It will throw it away. Whatever is not a part of a system is flushed out, because otherwise it will become poison inside. Similarly, the nature of myself is joy. How do I know? Because I want to get rid of that unhappiness. If my nature was of sorrow, I would always like to be sorrowful. But because my nature is of happiness, that is why I'll be happy to be happy. Otherwise, I'm unhappy. If it was not my nature, I would have been unhappy to be happy. Mark my words. I would have been very unhappy to be happy if my nature was not happiness. Are you getting my point? मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता दुखी होना, दुखी रहना. अगर मेरा नेचर, मेरा स्वरूप अगर दुख का होता, तो I would always like to be unhappy. But it is not like that. I want to be happy because that is my swaroop, that is my nature. We are unhappy to be unhappy. I want to be happy always. So I want to drop whatever is not my nature. So what is the entry point? Till where is that entry point of sukh and dukh? I am experienced. First, let us take the dukh. The dukh has the entry in the waking state. The dukh also has an entry in the dream state. But the dukh does not have an entry till the deep sleep state also. सुषुप्ति में उसका एंट्री नहीं है, प्रवेश वर्जित. अंदर जाना मना है, सख्त मना है. किसका? दुख का. हम लोग सो जाते हैं. When we are in deep sleep, we drop those unhappy moments, any unhappy thoughts. They don't have any entry in deep sleep. So it is entering the waking state. It goes to the dream state, but no entry in the deep sleep state. But let me tell you about the sukha, the happiness. It has got entry in the waking state, in the dream state, and also in the deep sleep state. So it goes farther. Because it is our swaroop, it goes till there. So dukha is what? Dukha is external. Sukha is what? Sukha is internal. Sukha, why is it sukha internal? Because it is causeless. It does not have any cause. We are happy without any cause. We don't know, but we are happy without any cause. We are superimposing some object. We are trying to taste to that our own happiness through some object actually. But that sukham is causeless. That causeless sukham only we experience in deep sleep because we are not identified to our body, mind, thought, object. You purchased a new Mercedes and it's kept on your doorstep. You have left everything and you have gone to sleep. You're not identified to any single thing. The best of best things that you have in your life. The emotions, best of best emotions, the best of best qualifications, whatever it is, you have left everything and you've gone to sleep. So sukha is internal, it is causeless, but dukkham is external. Dukkham is external. It needs a cause. It needs a cause. So it is as a pseudo dukkham. It is not real. Because it is making us feel incomplete. Okay. So sukha, ananda kaha, sukha swarupaha. Swarupa means what? Whole importance is of the word swarupaha. Why? Because anand experience I have, but I am not ananda swarupam. बहुत आनंद आया, ऐसे बहुत मजा आया. ये एक्सपीरियंस नहीं होता कि मैं ही आनंद हूँ. I am that Anand Swarup. I am that Anand. We have to take our attention to that portion. Because sadness is not our nature. I drop that sadness. In deep sleep, I don't have any sadness. It goes away. System tries to throw away what is not my nature. So that sadness is also flushed out. Even when we are very, very sad, remember this point also. When we are very, very sad, things have gone topsy turvy outside. Everything is in a chaos outside. But still, there is a happy entity inside that is watching you, who wants to be happy. It does not go anywhere. We want to forget our sorrow. Why? Because our nature is of happiness. We want to forget it. हम भूल जाना चाहते हैं. Okay? And joy is what? Joy is causeless. Joy is causeless. Joy is in deep sleep also. It goes till deep sleep. I am working for happiness. Everything I do it for you. This is song also. Huh? So that everything I do it for happiness. Whatever I'm doing it. I'm removing that cause of unhappiness actually. I'm removing the cause of unhappiness because that's not my nature. Something is limiting me, something is overpowering me. I want to remove that limitation because I'm limitless. Because I am of the nature of limitlessness. That is anantata. Anantata is equal to anandata. Wherever I am limited, I feel the limitation. That is not anantata, anantata, and that is dukkham. Wherever I feel limited, that is dukkham. So I am removing the limitations from me. That is called sukham. I am unlimited. I am limitless. That is called sukham. Anantata is anandata. Okay. So these were the some of the points. Their time is over. Anybody has any question? So now, wait a minute. Last sentence was Evam Satchidananda Swarupam Swam Swatmanam Vijaniyam. So this is the Swarup of yourself, what you were asking, Atma Tarikaha. This is the nature of that Atma, that is Sat, Chit and Anand. That is what? That is not somewhere outside. Don't objectify and see it. Swatmanam, you should see it as your own subject, own Atma. Subjectify yourself. It is not being spoken of some object outside. It is your own nature that you have to claim it. You're not claiming it right now. You feel that it is outside somewhere else. So Vijaniyat should be known. Vidhiling. This Vidhiling, it should be known. Okay, so here from Padshodhanam, I'm not going to too much detail. This is completed. And the next topic is of the universe, how this universe came up. What is it? What is the nature of this universe? Who created it? All these questions will be taken up here. Anybody has any question? Supratik, Shoma, Sonia. If no, then we will wind up. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri